Is Carrie here?
No Cub Scouts. Cub Scouts are not.
Right, no, they're not here.
She's probably signing people.
Okay. Good evening and welcome to the meeting of the Skokie Village Board for Tuesday, January 22nd, 2019. This evening, we will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Village Clerk Pramod Shah.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The meeting will come to order, and the clerk will please call the roll.
Trustee Roberts,
Here.
Trustee Sutker,
Here.
Trustee Ulrich,
Here.
Trustee Bromberg,
Here.
Trustee Klein,
Here.
Trustee Greg Keeler,
Here.
Mayor Van Dusen.
Here, we have a quorum. Next item is approval of the consent agenda for this evening's meeting. Motion is in order. Trustee Roberts, seconded by Trustee Sutker. Is there anything on the consent agenda anybody would like to have removed? Nothing? Okay. Call the roll, please.
Trustee Roberts,
Aye.
Trustee Sutker,
Aye.
Trustee Ulrich,
Aye.
Trustee Bromberg,
Aye.
Trustee Klein,
Aye.
Trustee Greg Keeler,
Aye.
Mayor Van Dusen.
Aye, the motion passes. The next item is a moment of great pleasure for the village. I'm proud to introduce the chairman of the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners, Will Evans, who will do the honors this evening. Mr. Chairman?
Good morning, Mayor Van Dusen, trustees, Police Chief Scarpelli, and all of us who are here on this very special evening. I want to especially acknowledge the family and friends of tonight's inductees. Tonight, we are here for the swearing in of our newest Village of Skokie police officers. As we must never forget that the men and women who serve as first responders deserve our admiration. They are often the first on the scene of a tragedy and provide security and comfort to those suffering. We invest our police officers with authority to promote and keep the peace. They deserve our support and gratitude as they do their jobs. It is now my great honor to have this opportunity to begin the swearing-in ceremonies. Joseph. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. Joseph George.
Joseph George,
I do solemnly swear that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States of America,
I do solemnly swear that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States of America,
State of Illinois,
State of Illinois,
the ordinance of the Village of Skokie,
the ordinance of the Village of Skokie,
and the rules and regulations
and the rules and regulations
of the Police Department
of the Police Department
and the Skokie Board of Fire and Police Commission,
and the Skokie Board of Fire and Police Commission,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of a police officer to the best of my ability.
of a police officer to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Officer George, would you introduce your family and friends to us, please?
Absolutely. So I have my lovely wife over here, Kristen George, my son Michael George, I have my aunt, Maya George, and my cousin, Alexandra George.
Like the last name. G-O-R-G-E.
Okay? Yeah. Joseph? I, Joseph Voigt,
I, Joseph Voigt,
do solemnly swear that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States of America,
Do solemnly swear I will uphold the Constitution of the United States of America,
State of Illinois,
State of Illinois,
the ordinances of the Village of Skokie,
the ordinances of the Village of Skokie,
the rules and regulations
the rules and regulations
of the Police Department,
of the Police Department,
and the Skokie Board of Fire and Police Commissioners,
and the Board of Skokie Fire and Police Commissioners,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of a police officer to the best of my ability.
of a police officer to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Would you do us the honors?
Sir, I have my father here, Peter. I have my mother, Vicky, and soon-to-be fiance, Angela.
Was that an announcement? She put her hand. Well, congratulations. We're assuming you said yes. It's kind of one of those moments at Wrigley or Comiskey where they pan the audience. Congratulations, though.
Adam? Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I,
I,
Adam Nazifi,
Adam Nazifi,
do solemnly swear that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States of America,
do solemnly swear that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States of America,
State of Illinois,
State of Illinois,
the ordinances of the Village of Skokie,
the ordinances of the Village of Skokie,
and the rules and regulations
and the rules and regulations
of the Police Department
of the Police Department
and the Skokie Board of Fire and Police Commission,
and the Skokie Board of Fire and Police Commission,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of a police officer to the best of my ability.
of a police officer to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Officer Nazifi, do you have an announcement for us this evening?
No, sir, not yet.
I think that's called a teaser. And
It's hard to beat that last one.
would you introduce your family and friends?
Yes, over there, I have my mother over there in the white, my girlfriend Elizabeth, and my brother Alex.
Congratulations. We're very proud of you, as we are of the entire department. If you don't know yet, you will know very soon just how proud we really are. As the chairman remarked very eloquently, you take on the difficult job because of the range of emotions of people that you have to deal with. Many of the people you're dealing with are going through traumatic problems, and you have to maintain your sense of decorum and be an intermediary quite often, and not always with all of the recipients' gratitude. But we do want you to know that you're valued by this community, not just nationally. All of the national organizations who do accrediting have recognized our department as a flagship department, which means we're truly one of the best in the country. But every 3 years, we do a survey, independent of us, to rate our departments according to our residents. And every time we've done the survey, since 2003, I think it is, if I remember correctly, we're always in the high 80s, close to 90% of our residents giving our police department rating of excellent. That's unmatched by most communities. And considering you're the ones who give out tickets, that's pretty good. But we want to congratulate you and thank your families for the support that they have given you and that we know they're going to continue to give you. Good luck in your new job. We look forward to seeing you back here for promotions and for other kinds of celebrations. Let's take a short break so everybody can congratulate our new officers. And the chairman did introduce, but let me reintroduce Chief Tony Scarpelli. So, Chief?
Well, speaking of announcements, I thought this would be an appropriate time to make an additional announcement. I'd like to thank the Fire and Police Commission for all the hard work they do. They just completed 7 interviews for the rank of sergeant, and the new promotees are in the audience. You'll see them next month for the official swearing in, but I'd like to congratulate in an official way Sergeant Sean Gibson. Where are you? Wave. Sergeant Brandy Shelton. Sergeant John Oakley. And I'm going to put him on the spot, but Ephraim Arzula, wave. He wasn't promoted to sergeant, but he's been taken off of probation, so we're going to keep him. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Well, inasmuch as the chief did mention the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners, they do the picking and choosing. We appoint the members of the board, and then we just let them do their job. And the fact that we have such a great department and have had for quite a long time is a tribute to, I think, the work that they put in. The chief touched on it just a little bit, the amount of time that they put in choosing new officers plus the promotions that come up is truly remarkable. It's hours and hours and hours. It's very time-consuming to do it right. So we thank the commission, and we also, of course, congratulate the new promotions, and we look forward to seeing you here next meeting. So let's take a short break. Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, fine.
would you mind closing the, thank you. The meeting will resume order with a report of our village manager, John Lockerbie.
Thank you very much, Mayor Van Duzen and Village Board. Good evening to everyone. Items A and B under my report were approved as part of the consent agenda. And I also wanted to introduce Nick Wyatt, who has joined me this evening, but as you can see, he's busy dealing with some details. But I wanted to announce this is his first board meeting as the Assistant Village Manager. He was recently promoted. He had been with the village for 11 years in various roles and responsibilities, and it's a pleasure to have him join us as the Assistant Village Manager. So, I know, I didn't miss that. But that completes my report this evening.
Thank you. Next report is of our Corporation Counsel, Michael Lorch.
Thank you, Mayor, trustees. Good evening, everyone. Items A and B on my report were adopted as part of the consent agenda at the beginning of this evening's meeting. And as such, that would conclude my report.
My guess is everybody's going to be leaving now that you've done the CX Core Mixed Use District Ordinance. Thank you.
It's a crowd pleaser.
It's the, it's the one that gets a lot of applause. Next item on the agenda is our 2019-20 Community Development Block Grant Public Hearing Number 2. It's my pleasure to introduce Carrie Haberstich. And while Carrie is coming to the podium, I'd also like to introduce Beth Lindley, who is the Director of Human Services for the village. Thank you, Beth. See what you get?
Yeah.
A bit of applause.
All right. Good evening. As the mayor mentioned, tonight is the second public hearing to prepare for the village's Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG, programming for the 2019 to 20 program year, also known as Program Year 19. The first hearing held on December 17th reviewed the progress of the current year's projects and the overall objectives of the CDBG program. Tonight's hearing will involve a brief review of village proposals for next year, but is primarily intended to give representatives of community organizations the opportunity to present their funding requests directly to the board. The board has received a memorandum and overview of the funding requests along with copies of the proposals. The next hearing for Program Year 19 will be conducted on Monday, February 4th, when budget recommendations will be presented and preliminary project allocations will be determined. By policy, the village encourages citizen participation at all CDBG public hearings and particularly welcomes input of low and moderate income citizens who are intended to be the primary beneficiaries of this program. The village's entitlement grant for Program Year 19 is not known at this time. We are currently using an entitlement estimate of $550,000, which is less than the current program year's entitlement amount. The annual action plan will not be finalized until the entitlement amount is specified by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, but we may proceed with our typical public hearing schedule. The final entitlement amount will affect the caps for administrative expenses and public services. In addition to the new entitlement, we expect to use roughly $100,000 in unobligated funds from previous years that we can apply to construction projects only. No program income is expected to be utilized to impact the public services cap, or at least at this time. Just a side note, the village receives program income when homes previously assisted by our CDBG-funded home improvement program are sold within 15 years after the repairs are made. At this time, our overall estimated budget is $650,000, which also accommodates a reserve of unobligated funds that could be used for cost overruns, emergency expenses, or future construction projects. Proposals from both village staff and community agencies total over $980,000, and reductions will be necessary for both construction and rehab projects and public service activities. The program cap of 20% for administrative expenses applied against the new entitlement while the 15% cap for public service funding is applied against the new entitlement plus the program income mentioned earlier if it becomes available. We will need to trim over $80,000 from the public service requests in order to meet the cap. Additionally, assuming 20%, maxing out the 20% admin and the 15% service funding caps, the construction rehab projects will need to be reduced by over $250,000. I would like to take this opportunity to remind both the board and the public that the CDBG program is primarily intended to be a bricks and mortar program, and at least 65% of our budget must be allocated to construction, capital improvement, or rehabilitation projects, as that was the original vision of the program. The February budget recommendations will be the result of considering each proposal by the necessity of the work, the requested funding amounts, CDBG eligibility, and HUD's program administration expectations. I would like to present the village staff proposals and then respond to any questions from the board regarding these proposals. Then agency representatives will be invited to give a brief overview of their funding requests for the coming year with a 2-minute limit. Any new applicants who are not current grantees or a new applicant representative of an existing grantee are asked to give a brief introduction of their organization or themselves, in addition to providing a brief overview of their funding requests. So we'll give you an extra minute, give you 3 minutes. The mayor will call the agencies in the order of the proposals as provided. Right here. Oh, good, it fits. And if the board would like to follow along in the agenda packet, please note that the overview begins in the PDF on page 32, village proposals on page 42, the public service proposals begin on page 49, and the public facility and construction proposals begin on page 298. Since we alternate presentation order each year, the public services requests will go first this year, and the construction and rehab requests will go last. We have one organization that has submitted separate service and construction rehab applications, so they'll provide the transition between services and construction and rehab. So with that, the Village of Skokie proposals, in addition to the admin funding, we have our CDBG home improvement program requesting $50,000 for improvements to owner-occupied homes. We also, there's a request for $150,000 for affordable housing initiatives for Skokie. The intent of this funding would be for construction and rehab and not like administrative. So we're still working through the details of what that would entail. It could include something like putting funding towards property acquisition, but it's intended to be something that would be a construction rehab type of activity for affordable housing in Skokie. Also this year we have street resurfacing requests for Davis Street, Carroll Street, and Madison Street. And the total estimated cost for that is just under $215,000. We also have the sidewalk replacement program where 50% of the share is paid by the village and 50% that's intended to be paid for by the homeowner. As long as the household is eligible, CDBG pays for the homeowner's share. And that will be focused on an area bound by Church Street to the north, Dempster Street to the south, the eastern and western village limits, and then also as requested outside that particular area. And then for our village social worker position, requesting $47,500 to fund the position at 60%. And that should be it if you have any questions.
Trustee Sucker.
I am a licensed clinical social worker employed by a social service agency that is an applicant for a CDBG grant tonight. I don't believe that this creates a conflict. However, I believe it is important to avoid the appearance of partiality. Therefore, I will recuse myself from participating in the discussions relating to the applications and from voting on the grants. My recusal from participating in the discussions should not be construed as indifference to the valuable services that the applicants provide to the people in need. I respect and admire all of the agencies for their fine work and thank them.
Thank you. Trustee Roberts.
I also am going to recuse myself from voting on the grants as well as questioning the applicants. I am a board member of one of the applicants, so to avoid any appearance of impropriety or unfairness, I'm going to abstain. So, and like my colleague, Trustee Sucker, and I know I speak for all the board, we greatly admire the work that you do. So don't misunderstand my silence or Trustee Sucker's silence in any other way. Thank you very much, and good luck to all of you.
Thank you. Hey, I just want to reiterate Carrie's admonition. I'm going to be a little strict on the 2-minute, 3-minute ground rule. The purpose of that is we have upwards of 20 applicants, and we want to be as fair to who goes first to who goes 20th. We want to make sure that everybody gets equal attention and an opportunity to express their support for their own agency. So please understand. First, under Public Services, JCFS. Good evening.
Some of you actually may have known Ed Reed. He says hello.
Say hi for us.
Will do. On behalf of JCFS, I want to thank all of you for your past support. It's certainly been nice to have. We're asking for $10,000 to help pay for a financial case manager position that's housed in Skokie. The JCFS offers financial counseling and case management services. The overarching goal of the program is to empower low-income families in Skokie to create more stable financial environments for themselves and their families. Case managers work closely with clients to provide financial education and counseling, provide financial assistance for rent or utilities, access benefit programs, and connect them with community supports. The service provides financial vulnerable individuals with access to essential social services to foster their self-respect, autonomy, and sense of responsibility. So for fiscal year 18, we provided financial stability services and financial case management to 48 Skokie residents who lived with 65 family members. So we impacted about 113 people. Of the 48 people we directly served, 36 overall were white, with 5 Hispanic individuals, 8 African American individuals, and 4 multiracial individuals. 22 of those 48 were extremely low income, which is 30% of the median income of a family of 3 is $59,000. Very low is 17 were very low, which is 50%. 5 are low, and the other 4 were above the 80%. The other program we're starting to institute is a 12-week group for financial literacy, where a leader meets with the group members to educate about financial skills, as well as to look at the causes of some of their financial instability and difficulty. I know for the coming year, we're wanting to help 50 to 55 individuals.
Thank you. Are there any questions? No. Thank you for your good work.
Thank you.
The Center for Enriched Living.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. I'm Harriet Levy. I'm the Executive Director at the Center for Enriched Living. We are located in Riverwoods, but we serve quite a few people from the Skokie area, about 58 to 65 people. To put it quite simply, the Center for Enriched Living is a nonprofit that serves the social enrichment needs of people with developmental disabilities. Our ages run from 13 up to 90. We have no age limits. We have no geographic boundaries. The very foundation of what we do is social, bringing people who are primarily very socially isolated out there in the community and bringing them together to learn, to have fun, to meet friends, and to really be part of the community. People with developmental disabilities want to live the same quality of life that we live. They want to learn, they want to continue growing, they want to have friends in their life, they want to be in the community, of the community, and part of the community, living, working, playing, everything. So this is something that we strongly believe in. Our programs are really broken out into 3 categories. Social enrichment is the very foundation of what we do. And we also post high school life at age 22. For many of our families, they liken it to falling off a cliff. There are very few opportunities, so we have several day programs that we operate at the Riverwoods location and now in Hoffman Estates as well, but serving the Skokie community. The third piece of it, which we picked up about 2.5 years ago because there's such a great need, is employment. It's 85% unemployment rate for adults with developmental disabilities. So these are the 3 key areas that we look to fund. And the people that come from Skokie, we have one young woman who is from Skokie that went to college this year, thanks to a grant. We have others. We have a volunteer group that delivers Meals on Wheels in Skokie, and they love it. I mean, everybody wants to have a sense of purpose and meaning to their life, and that's really what we try and do, is give every day meaning and purpose and challenge to all of those people that come to the center. We serve about 500 people annually, but a significant portion, because we have a lot of history in Skokie, come from this community. We even pick up at the Skokie Swift every week. So we have quite a few people. We're asking for $2,000 to support our Skokie folks in their goal to live a rich and full life and to participate in center activities. So thank you so much for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Comments or questions? No, it's okay. You've escaped. You've escaped. Thank you. Meals at Home. Good evening.
Good evening. Meals at Home is the local Meals on Wheels program, so that's a little bit self-explanatory. We came here for the first year last year, so thank you very much for our first year of funding. Last year we served more than 47,000 meals over the course of the year, and that's actually a little bit of a step back from the previous year. When I came in, I told you how we were kind of trying to regroup and build, because we knew that the need in the communities that we serve are so much larger. There are thousands of people who need our help, and we help about 250 people each year. So lots of restructuring. The whole theme of this past year, we brought in a consultant to do a feasibility study on food production specifically. The recommendation was that we build a kitchen, and Mayor and I spoke about that at one point as well. So we went through a very a complete rewrite of our strategic plan this year as well. The board, the staff, community members, other organizations, other Meals on Wheels programs throughout the country, and really put together what we think is a solid plan to move forward. So there's a whole lot going on in the future with the intention of not only serving more people, but serving really good food, and including sort of an ethnic component as well, so that people can have the food that they grew up with, or those comfort foods. So that's the big message for this year. We're looking at transportation vehicles in addition to the kitchen, well, one for now, branding and rebranding, and it's just a very exciting time. So I hope you can help us out again this year. Big things are on the horizon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And that was 47,000?
47,000, over 47,000. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Metropolitan Family Services.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Rose with Metropolitan Family Services. It has been a great honor to work in this community for 29 years, 6 months to go. And I want to let you know that, so that's my big announcement. We use all these services, all these other services, they refer to us. I mean, all the social service agencies work together in this community. Big shout out to JCFS, that financial counselor. They just, like, one of my clients got, like, is able to stay in her apartment because of them. I mean, it's really, we work together, and that's what this is for. And we work with really the neediest people in Skokie who need help. And regardless if they have Medicaid or if they have Blue Cross Blue Shield or if they have whatever insurance they have, we'll see them. It doesn't, and we always tell people, it doesn't matter. If your insurance runs out, which happens to everybody all the time, all of a sudden it's like, oh no, my insurance is gone. It's okay, we'll still see you. We just won't, we'll charge you what you could afford. What can you afford? Nothing. Okay, we'll charge you nothing. So that's what we use with the money for. And it's not just therapy, it's social services. It's to help people get the help that they need. And it means so much. So thank you.
Well, thank you, and I want to congratulate you on nearly 30 years of service. One of the reasons I think the participants in our social services are together and work together really is in many ways due to you.
Thank you.
Your enthusiasm for public service is infectious, and you and Metropolitan Family Services have served everybody well. We wish you the very best. It's a little premature, I know, 6 months, but at least publicly, I want to take this occasion and thank you very much for everything you've done.
It's been my great honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
This seems to be an evening for announcements. Peer Services.
Good evening. My name is Maureen McDonald. I'm the Executive Director at Peer Services, providing services to low-income, substance abuse services to low-income residents throughout the north suburbs. Skokie residents we might see anywhere, including our offices in Evanston and Glenview, as well as in community prevention events. We are been very grateful to have your support. We serve predominantly low-income adults and adolescents from age of 12 to age 88. Those are our youngest and oldest clients today. While many people have gained insurance coverage, as other speakers have addressed, not everybody has it, or some people have insurance, but they have very high deductibles, and all of those provide barriers to entry at a time when people really are in crisis. And so your support helps us step people right across that threshold and say, we can serve you, we will help you, you can stop driving under the influence, you can stop making things difficult at home, we can help you with that. And those are our goals. We expect to serve in the year of the proposal over 150 Skokie residents, 100 people in our regular outpatient counseling, plus another 50 or so through the Skokie Youth Court, which is a project we very much enjoy being part of. So the services that we offer help people reduce their use, reconnect with community and school and work in a positive way. And sometime when we have more than 2 minutes, I'd be happy to talk more about how that works. But thank you so much for your support. We are requesting $12,000 this year to help with otherwise undefrayed expenses, and we're grateful for your consideration.
Thank you very much. Comments or questions? Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you work with other substance abuse facilities like AA or? Yeah, okay, I was just curious. Okay.
Yeah, we absolutely do. So all of the community support services, support groups like Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Smart Recovery is something that's expanding in the north suburbs, and so we encourage people to participate in those. Everybody who's working this path needs support beyond what we can offer in treatment, and it's only a part of the journey. So yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to take just a minute to introduce Nick. Nick, while you were out, John introduced you, and everybody applauded, so while you're here, welcome. And he didn't give you any assignments while you were out either. Children's Advocacy, welcome.
Thank you. Mark Parr from the Children's Advocacy Center. I'd like to thank all the representatives from Skokie for the support you provided. The center continues to provide coordinated services for children who are victims of sexual abuse, severe physical abuse, or witnesses to violence or other crimes. We serve children right from the time that the disclosure is made, help coordinate the investigation, so we work very closely with your excellent police department, with representatives of the Department of Children and Family Services and the State's Attorney's Office, so that the child only has to be interviewed one time in the course of the investigation, and that hopefully all the information that's necessary to continue the investigation is gathered at that time. We then provide a whole range of supportive services, and that's really what we're asking support for. Our advocate, who is housed in our Northbrook office, which is the local office where we see children from Skokie, she provides all the crisis counseling, the court advocacy, so she actually attends court hearings with the family as a support person, and the ongoing support and case management. Some of our families, if they're involved with the court system, may be working with us for up to 2 years, sometimes even longer. So this is a consistent person that provides support for families throughout that whole period of time. All our services are free to the families we work with. We're a 24-hour-a-day agency. They're always on call should a child disclose abuse and either be in danger of any further contact with the alleged offender, or if the police have someone in custody and they're working on a limited time frame, we can bring that whole team of professionals together so that we can move that investigation forward in a timely way. So I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The Harbor.
Good evening. My name is Terry Shevchak, and on behalf of the Harbor, I just want to thank the Village of Skokie for your support over the years. This year, we are requesting funding to provide partial salaries for a therapeutic case manager to provide wraparound case management, as well as an intake coordinator to provide both outreach and intake services to youth. As you may know, the Harbor has existed in the community for over 45 years and provides emergency shelter, transitional housing, and supportive services to homeless youth in the north and northwest suburbs. In addition to our short-term emergency shelter program, we offer up to 18 months of transitional housing through both supervised group homes and scattered site apartments. While we previously only had one dedicated transitional group home for community youth located in Schaumburg, we're happy to report that we've recently added a 4-bedroom transitional group home facility in Des Plaines to better serve youth on the east side of our service area, including Skokie. All youth in our care receive intensive case management, educational support, employment skills development, and life skills training, including financial literacy, budgeting, and credit repair. We also offer customized services for pregnant and parenting youth. Last year, we implemented an initiative, Harbor 24/7, which leverages technology to ensure all youth needing our services can access us. This includes a youth-specific microsite, a text for helpline, and increased social media presence. We've also increased our traditional modes of outreach, and in the first half of our current fiscal year, utilization of our shelter has increased by 160% as compared to our historical average utilization. In our current program year, we've provided 200 days of care to 3 Skokie youth, including 1 child of youth, which translates to over $30,000 worth of service to date. We provide 24-hour care to youth, and we did not charge fees for our services. Our services are intensive. We're offering not only a bed, but also services to promote self-sufficiency like financial literacy curriculum, help finding a job and pursuing education, and parenting support for youth with children of their own. We thank the Village of Skokie for partnering with us to serve community youth in crisis, and we're grateful for the opportunity to apply once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up is the North Shore Senior Center.
Hello, I'm Kathy Honeywell. I'm the Director of Senior and Family Services at the North Shore Senior Center. In terms of announcements, we have an announcement. We have a new executive director. Her name is Tish Rudnicki, and she's here with us tonight. So we're very happy to announce that. On behalf of North Shore Senior Center, I'd like to thank you for your continued support of our programs, of the programs administered in the Senior and Family Services Department. Your support helps our continued services to low-income seniors residing in Skokie who need help accessing social services and other programs. We're asking for $10,000 to support our work in Skokie. The Senior and Family Services Department at North Shore Senior Center actually serves 4 townships, New Trier, Niles, Northfield, Maine, as well as the city of Evanston. We have 2 offices in Northfield and Niles, and our Niles office serves Niles Township in the city of Evanston. In FY18, we served in Senior and Family Services 22,508 people, and of that, 3,019 were Skokie residents. The majority of our work takes place in people's homes. We visit clients in their homes, we assess their needs, we complete a 21-page assessment. From that assessment, we're able to determine or develop a care plan that helps address client needs, as well as the services and programs to help meet those needs. Some programs that we connect people to include home-delivered meals, chore housekeeping services, respite, assistance completing entitlement applications. We get people connected to transportation resources. We also have a we help support social and physical needs of Skokie residents by providing a monthly caregiver support group here at the Village Hall and health and wellness programs in some of the subsidized buildings. This spring, we're also going to have a Powerful Tools for Caregivers class here at the Village Hall. So it's our goal to help Skokie seniors have a better quality of life by remaining in their homes and aging in place as long as they choose to remain in their homes. Do you have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
YOU.
Yes, hi everybody.
Good evening.
Hi, I'm Leslie Warner. I'm the grants manager at YOU. I'm filling in for our chief advancement officer who has her own board meeting tonight. Youth and Opportunity United is requesting $15,000 in continued support of our after-school and summer learning programs. YOU serves approximately 280 primarily low-income Skokie youth who attend 3 of the highest need Title I schools in the Skokie community. That's Edison Elementary, Lincoln Junior High School, and Old Orchard Junior High School. We support youth in all of their environments, at home, at school, and in the community. We provide safe, structured activities during after-school hours in summer months that include daily academic assistance, enrichment activities, and parent engagement. Our services are unique in that they are provided at no cost to families and that they are holistic with master's level clinical counselors embedded in our sites to support youth's social and emotional growth through trauma-informed care. For this specific proposal, the funding will partially support a youth development worker who will serve as both an activity coordinator and life skills mentor. This work will include daily academic assistance support and leading experiential learning activities like Lego robotics, poetry workshops, or theater. And that's very succinct. We're grateful for Skokie's CDBG's support of YOU's programming since we opened our first site in Skokie in 2013, and we thank you for considering our request.
Leslie,
Questions?
thank you. Question? Northwest Compass.
I did receive an email from the representative of Northwest Compass. She wasn't sure, she was stuck in traffic, so she wasn't sure she was going to be able to make it. So I guess we'll just move on to the next one.
Okay.
Thanks.
SASI services for adults staying in their homes.
Hello.
Evening.
My name is Jonathan Tagg, and I'm the Program Manager for Senior Connections, a program at SASI. SASI stands for Services for Adults Staying in Their Homes, and we support the efforts of older adults to remain in their homes through our two core programs. One, Home Care Services, and our second one, Senior Connections, is a friendly visitor program, which is what we're requesting, our first time requesting a community development block grant today. Senior Connections recruits, trains, and matches caring volunteers with a socially isolated senior right here in their community. That visit is usually about an hour once a week and at no charge. We are seeking support today to gain a lot of the gains that we had in 2018, where we recently expanded into the village of Skokie. Last year, we were the lucky recipients of a Skokie Community Foundation grant and partnered with the Village of Skokie Human Services, which helped us lay a foundation here in Skokie. So we went from 0 to 8 participants, local participants, and matched them with local volunteers. So I hosted 4 trainings right here in Skokie to help make that happen. We are hoping to continue this growth. Even today, earlier today, I had an assessment where I met a 93-year-old gentleman who has lived here in Skokie for 63 years in the same home. And although now he still has a 24-hour caregiver, he finds himself lonely and bored due to his vision impairment and hearing impairment. And I found him quite interesting for an hour. So that's what I do. I meet a senior and I find out their interests and I match them with a volunteer. So we are seeking funding to help recruit and train those volunteers, but also identify those seniors right here in this community. Yeah, pretty much that's what we're trying to do.
Thank you, Jonathan. Questions? We appreciate everything you do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Evanston, Erie, Skokie.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Robin Barnadoe, and I'm a Regional Operations Director at Erie, Evanston, Skokie, and Erie, this area, the northern side of the Chicagoland area. Erie Family Health Center serves 75,000 patients annually through 13 sites. One of those sites is on Dempster in Evanston, just a few blocks over the Skokie border. At our sites, 88% of our patients have Medicaid or no insurance at all. And of our 75,000 patients, about 7,500 of those we serve at our Erie, Evanston, Skokie location, and approximately 1,400 patients are Skokie residents. Right now, we have some very exciting news. We're expanding our clinic. We're expanding from a 15 exam room clinic to a 34 exam room clinic. We are adding space for additional medical providers, which means additional patients. We're expanding our behavioral health services. We've added psychiatry, and all patients who come to Erie have access not only to family medicine, pediatrics, women's health, adult care, but they also have access to behavioral health, to psychiatry, and to dental care. We'll be expanding all of those services to serve additional patients once our clinic is finished. We expect that our clinic will be finished by March 1st. We'll be doing some final touches, so by April 1st, we'll be opening those new exam rooms and opening the doors to additional patients. We hope many of those will be Skokie residents. So we're asking you today for an additional $8,000 to help support that expansion and support the care that we provide. And so we appreciate your consideration. Do you have any questions?
Well, first, thank you for everything that you do, and congratulations on the expansion.
We're very excited.
I was there recently and had an opportunity to take a look at the new area. It's very impressive, and you do great work on behalf of Evanston and Skokie, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your
Does
support.
anybody have any questions? Thank you very much. Under Public Services and Construction/Rehab, Asian Human Services. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Mohammad Paracha. I'm the CEO of Asian Human Services Family Health Center. We are a federally qualified health center providing medical and dental services in the Skokie area since 2015. We've been in existence as a federally qualified health center for FQHC for almost 20 years now. We applied for two projects. I'm going to hand it over to our grant administrator so he can describe those two projects briefly.
Hi, I'm Ernie Brum Gomez. We're asking for two grants for funding to help subsidize the partial salary of our one dental assistant. At our Skokie clinic, all of our services are provided on a sliding fee scale. And our goal is to improve the overall health of all the families in Skokie. The next one is to get a permanent table installed in our Skokie clinic on Lockwood for people with disabilities. A table that moves down so people with mobility impairments can just get on the table easier without having assistance. So that's what we're asking funding for. Do you have any questions?
Thank you. Anybody have any questions?
You can do it better.
Thank you very much for being with us this evening. Yes,
we
sir.
just want to thank the Skokie board, its trustees for their support over the years. So thank you very much.
Thank you for everything you do. Construction rehab projects, Turning Point.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Saltz. I'm the Development Director at Turning Point Behavioral Healthcare Center. And we are so grateful. I just want to express our gratitude to the village for its wonderful support over the years, and I appreciate being here tonight. Turning Point is an outpatient community mental health center serving approximately 1,300 clients a year, approximately 90% of whom are low income. We serve both adults and children starting at age 5. And our announcement is that we're celebrating 50 years this year. Turning Point is applying for Turning Point is applying for funding for a 2-part facility upgrade to improve accessibility to our public restrooms and to replace one of our 11 rooftop HVAC units, which controls heating and cooling in our Skokie Boulevard facility. With the very much appreciated support of the Skokie CDBG program, we have been gradually upgrading our aging HVAC units over the past 3 years. And we hope to continue that process, prioritizing the next unit which is most in need of replacement, while also making an accessibility upgrade this year to our public restrooms. The accessibility upgrade would consist of installing 2 automatic door operator systems to our men's and women's restrooms. The installed systems will provide enhanced accessibility, allowing clients and guests to access the facilities independently with greater ease and without assistance. The HVAC upgrades we have been working on have helped to replace aging units that have been consistently problematic, resulting in repeated repairs, damaging leaks, fluctuating temperatures, and poor energy efficiency. Several of the units have experienced hail damage that has undermined efficiency, so all of the new units that are being installed are with hail guards so as to maximize their lifetimes and better protect them against the weather. Turning Point provides a wide array of mental health services and crisis support, And we are so grateful to the Village of Skokie for supporting our work and all of the many activities under our roof with their generous support of our facility upgrades. So we thank you very much for your consideration this year.
Thank you. I don't quite go back 50 years, but I go back to around the late 70s, and I think it's always been a source of pride for us to see the development of Turning Point, and especially when you settled on Skokie Boulevard, and what you've done there is just remarkable. So give Ann our regards, and thank you very
Absolutely.
much
Thank
for
you so
coming
much.
this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Sure. Good evening.
Hello. Hi there. I'm Mary Matz. I'm our Senior Philanthropy Officer at Shore Community Services. We work with children and adults, over 400 annually, who have intellectual and other developmental disabilities. Our request is for $22,275, and that is to replace 11 variable air volume boxes, basically they're VAV boxes in the ceilings, at our Lois Lloyd Center and our administration center, which was formerly the police station. And I can say that we have signage on our building now, so you can actually see it when you go on, both Lincoln and Laramie. So that's been many years in the making, but we're happy to actually be visible now. The Lois Lloyd Center serves roughly 90 low-income adults that have severe and profound, as well as moderate developmental disabilities. Many of them are medically fragile, so it is imperative that we're able to keep the temperature controlled, just more or less to avoid any seizures occurring. 91 adults were served in that program last fiscal year, which ended June 30th. 39 live in Skokie, and there's another 53 that live in Skokie that attend other short programs. The 11 boxes would finish off the first floor. There's 5 that are currently under contract and a direct digital control panel that's going to be replaced, partly funded from this lovely village of Skokie. So we've been in the process of trying to upgrade our HVAC system over the course of years since we moved in, primarily because we've had nothing but problems with it. Basically, those VAV boxes, they control the temperature. And so what we have now in place, they are beyond the point of exceeding the manufacturer's life expectancy. They are pneumatic in nature, so when we do convert, they will have a direct digital control sensor on them, so it will communicate with the new control panel that we're going to replace before the summer, hopefully early spring. And basically those controls, they're going to be able to be controlled anywhere. I mean, I can look at my phone and say, okay, well, you know what? Nobody's in that building right now. We can lower the temperature because obviously nobody's there. So that will obviously reduce energy cost as well as make them more efficient. And one nice thing that they also have are set points. So you can set them, and then you can also look at when is that temperature going to need to be at a certain level. Ultimately, it's going to better regulate our entire system and create a better and comfortable environment for our clients and staff, as well as our visitors that come to our center. So.
Thank you. I'm going to step out a little bit. If you have not been to Shore, I invite you to come call Mary.
Anytime.
It's a great example of an adaptive reuse. Taking an old police station and the way you've converted it into a very friendly, welcoming social service center is nothing short of remarkable. So, and it's great to have you as a neighbor.
Thank you. We're happy
I
to
drive
be there.
by every day, and it gives me a warm feeling to know what goes on in the old police station. And I couldn't help but think about that when we were swearing in the officers this evening. So thank you very much for being with us
No,
this evening.
thank you. We are grateful for the support you guys have given us. Thanks.
CJE Senior Life 1 and 2. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor Van Dusen, Board. I'm David Guthridge. I'm representing CJE Senior Life. CJE seeks $61,500 in CDBG funding for the final phase of a kitchen floor facilities improvement project at CJE's Lieberman Center for Health and Rehabilitation. We have also applied for $52,429 in funds for improvements to our Village Center subsidized senior apartment building, Community Living. CJE is a nationally recognized, diversified, and innovative elder care organization. Our mission is to enhance quality of life and facilitate independence of older adults. We offer healthy aging and elder care programs and life enrichment, supportive housing and resources, health care and research, and education. Each year, CJE programs benefit 20,000 diverse clients and caregivers throughout the Chicago areas. Participants reside in Chicago's north side neighborhoods and north and northwest suburbs. Most clients live close to or below the poverty line and receive free or subsidized services. Lieberman, located at 9700 Grosse Pointe Road in Skokie, provides short-term rehabilitation and long-term skilled nursing care to 460 patients and 200 residents annually, including more than 130 low to moderate income older adult Skokie residents. Lieberman's kosher certified kitchen produces more than 369,000 meals each year in a roughly 4,000 square foot space. Of these, at least 350 meals per day are for Meals on Wheels to the local communities. The kitchen is used on average 15 hours daily. During production, staff and delivery personnel often transport heavy equipment across the floor. Over the past 40 years, this resulted in damaged and pitted sections in the flooring. These damaged areas require costly maintenance to prevent increased risk of slips, trips, and falls, and potential damage to equipment. Phase 1 of our project, for which we gratefully received Skokie CDBG funding, is involving removing approximately 1,400 square feet of this flooring in the kitchen and replacing it with poured epoxy. Additional funds are needed for Phase 2. In Phase 2, we will repair and replace the damaged and pitted areas in the remaining about 2,600 square feet of flooring and apply the new epoxy coating. Are there any questions to this point?
I don't
Thank you.
believe so.
Okay. Village Center, located at 5140 Gale, it's just next door to us here, is a 150-unit independent living apartment building. Most of the 200 residents have annual household income of $10,000 or below and are aged 78 or older. The Village Center's community wing has about 3,800 square feet of space on the first floor. The wing is used daily by residents and other community members who attend educational workshops, exercise classes. They play games, watch movies, enjoy other entertainment. They play chess. Residents, many of whom have chronic conditions, can participate in stimulating and healthy activities without having to venture outside of the building, especially during harsh days such as today. This renovation project will include improvements to recreational activity space, the kitchen, men's and women's washrooms to make them more accessible for the residents, upgrade the flooring, lighting, and replace 3 sets of hallway doors with fire-rated doors and convert a storage area to additional office space that can be used to meet with and service the residents. The renovated areas will be used for activities and entertainment by service coordinators and other staff to provide wellness programs and social services to residents. These projects, both the Lieberman Center and the Village Center, will benefit older adults, older Skokie residents, including many who are frail and all of whom are low and moderate income. Quality of life will be enhanced, and we believe that these projects align well with the Village of Skokie's CDBG facilities improvement visions and goals. Thank you very much for your continued support, and I'm here for any questions.
Thank you. You've always been a valued resource, and we appreciate everything.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, David. Search is next.
Good evening. I am Beth Valukas. I'm the CEO of Search. Search is a nonprofit organization that provides housing, employment, adult education, and supportive services so that 500 adults with developmental disabilities can live full and meaningful lives in the community. We currently operate 30 community-based homes in the city and suburbs, and Skokie is a wonderful home to 85 of the individuals we serve at 14 residential sites. We at Search take great pride in maintaining beautiful and accessible homes that are well integrated into the community. And the Village of Skokie has been a really important partner to us in helping us to maintain and improve those homes through the CDBG program, so thank you. Tonight, we are respectfully requesting $18,750 for an accessible ramp for our home on Central Park. This is home to 8 men with developmental disabilities, all of whom are very low income and rely on Search to meet their basic needs. Your renewed support will significantly improve the accessibility of the home. This home is specifically meant for individuals who are aging and have mobility impairments, including a gentleman who just celebrated his 90th birthday with us. 4 of the 8 individuals require wheelchairs or walkers for ambulation purposes, so the addition of this ramp will significantly improve accessibility as well as provide an additional accessible exit in cases of emergencies. So thank you very much for your consideration. We appreciate the opportunity to present a request for renewed support.
Thank you. I must say, one of the things about Search is the way you've been able to integrate your services into the neighborhoods. I believe, and I would be happy to be corrected, but I'm quite sure that we have the most CELA homes in the suburbs in the north and northwest area. And we've been able to do that because of the quality of work that Search and the other vendors do. So
thank you so much. You have been an absolutely invaluable partner to us, and we appreciate it.
Well, you do valuable work, and
thank you.
Want to thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Orchard Village.
I'm Marlene Hodges, representing Orchard Village. Orchard Village maintains 7 group homes for adults with developmental disabilities in the greater Skokie. We also have 5 in additional areas. One of our houses is about a block up the street, right next to the beautiful development. Thank you very much for helping us remodel 2 of the bathrooms. But this year I'm coming back to ask for help for replacing some of the windows. There are 48 windows in this house, and the house is just about 100 years old, and the windows are original windows. We've had storm windows, but both the original windows and the storm windows are basically shot. We can replace them with either vinyl windows or wood windows. Again, this is right next to the beautiful Floral Street development. And we are officially asking for $57,375 to replace the windows with wood windows. We'd be thrilled to have vinyl windows, but again, this is right next door to the beautiful Skokie development. Thank you so much for all of your help. Being funded by the state of Illinois, as is true for the other agencies serving people with developmental disabilities, there really is no money for capital expenses. We're thrilled to make ends meet with on an operating expense basis, but there really is no extra money for capital expenses. Having 100-year-old windows, I think you can well understand the nature of the opportunity. Thank you again for all your help. Any questions?
Marla, I have one.
I'm sorry?
I have one. How far back does Orchard Village go?
1972.
72. Okay. My original next-door neighbor's brother helped start Orchard Village. And Al Smith was always very proud of the work that you do, as was Mayor Gorell and myself. So thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you.
Next up is thresholds.
Make this work for both of us. Good evening, Mayor Van Duzen and trustees. I'm Susan Shimon, a VP of Thresholds, and I have the honor of overseeing our North Suburban and nearby county programs. Thresholds is was established in 1959, so it is celebrating a big birthday this year.
Wow.
It formed in order to provide mental health recovery services through supportive housing, supported employment, psychiatry, community supports, and other evidence-based practices so that people diagnosed and disabled by serious mental illnesses can recover. We've done that throughout the Chicago metro area all of these years. And importantly, right here in Skokie, with an office at 7400 Skokie Boulevard, that is a sister site to our Northfield location. That North Suburbs program served nearly 400 people last year, and many, many of those members, as we refer to the people that we serve, reside in the village of Skokie, in Sillas, and in some owned properties and other leased settings, both clusters of apartments and in scattered sites. Two of our owned properties, one on Wright Terrace and the other on Church Street, are in need of renovation. And so Tom will describe what those are.
Yeah, in one of our property on Church Street, we're sorely in need to replace the existing HVAC system. There's 2 furnaces and 2 AC condensers that have operated well past its functional life. We're looking at not only replacing them, but actually, after the replacement, lower our operating costs and maintenance costs over the years. It's been a preventive maintenance replacement that we've been planning for a number of years now, just never have the funding to do so. At another one of our property on Wright Terrace, we're looking at doing kitchen renovation on both floors. Each kitchen has not been renovated for a number of years.
Ever. I've known that property for many years when it was part of another organization, and those are vintage, original kitchens.
Yeah, you took the word right out of my mouth. We're looking at replacing vintage cabinetries, countertops. We were looking at replacing appliances with dials on it. That's how old they are. And we also looking at replacing the old flooring, and there's even water damage that we have to repair because it has been untouched for many, many years. And it would go a long way in creating an environment that would enhance recovery for members living in these residences.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wanted to thank all of you for participating in this evening's sauna. It is a little warm. Never thought I would be seeking air conditioning on a night like this, but it rings a little hollow, I know, to thank you, but it is important that to hear from you. Often we get worked up in spreadsheets, statistics, those kinds of things that you have to do when you have a budget like ours and police, fire, and all of the great departments. But it's very important for us to be able to hear the work that you do. You do a lot of the work that doesn't get public attention. In fact, some of the work you do is the kind of thing that's hidden from society. But it runs the gamut from problems with children to middle age to the elderly and people with developmental disabilities. And it's the heavy lifting that takes place in society. This evening, the chairman of our Board of Fire and Police Commissioners, I thought eloquently, thanked our police department for its difficult work. You equally do the heavy lifting of society. You don't give out tickets, but you do a lot of the hidden work that there is nothing that we can say other than thank you for what you do. Mary Rose, we saluted earlier in the evening for her 30 years of service. And frankly, that's the kind of thing that we've grown used to in this community because everybody does cooperate and work together. And we are proud of the kinds of services that we are able to give those less fortunate in our community. So on behalf of the board, I want to thank you for that service and hope you know that it is truly appreciated by all of us. And we, of course, thank you for giving us that reminder. It seems every year when we do the presentations, it's the worst possible weather. So in addition, I want to thank you for coming out on such a miserable evening. But thank you very much. And we have one more brief meeting, correct?
Yes.
Okay, substantial amendment.
So anyone who wants to go home, you can. See a lot of familiar faces out there. You're welcome to stay. All right, so may I officially start or another
Yes.
intro? Okay. This substantial amendment is to the current program year that we're in right now. And on March 5th of 2018, the village board approved the annual action plan for the May 1st, 2018 through April 30th, 2019 program year. And one of the budgeted items was to provide over $12,500 to the Zacharias Center to replace its parking lot at its sexual abuse center on Dempster Street. The substantial amendment request retains the original scope of work. However, an increase in the budget amount is being requested to ensure prevailing wages and benefits can be paid for this federally funded project. Additional support for this request comes from other village staff members who have expressed concern regarding the condition of the parking lot. Assuming the substantial amendment is approved, we would add $18,975 in unallocated funds. We were the beneficiaries of a large entitlement that we didn't budget for, so there's some wiggle room as far as funding goes to enable to create a total of $31,500 for a CDBG contribution to the parking lot replacement, and then the Zacharias Center would match that at roughly $10,500 for a grand total of $42,000 and the total estimated project cost. This would be broken down by the 25% match, 75% CDBG. So if somehow we're fortunate that once the bids come in that it's less than that, we'll split it 75-25. HUD regulations require that public input into the action plan be sought through a legal notice, making drafts of the plan available to the public, and conducting a public hearing. A legal ad was published in the Skokie Review on December 20th, 2018, stating the availability of the draft plan, listing the primary goals of the plan, and action plan revisions for program year 18, or also known as fiscal year 19. The ad also invited the public to provide input at a public hearing to be held before the trustees tonight. Suggested changes to the annual action plan were available for public review in the reference area of the Skokie Public Library and in the planning division on the second floor of Village Hall, and no feedback from the public was received to date. Following the public comment session, I ask that the board approve the substantial amendment for the Program Year 18 Action Plan so it can be forwarded to HUD for eventual approval. And Mary Navarro with the Zacharias Center is available if you have any questions.
Okay. Good evening. Okay, and you, Carrie, you would like a motion this evening. Is that correct?
Yes, request a motion.
Okay, let me take a motion, and then if there are questions, a motion to accept the substantial amendment as proposed this evening to the CDBG Action Plan FY19. Trustee Gray Keeler, seconded by Trustee Klein. Are there any questions? Thank you for your patience this evening.
No, thank you. Thank you all very much. We do appreciate this, and we do appreciate the support you've given us in the past. I am the new grant manager, Mary Navarro. My executives were all in a meeting, so therefore I was chosen to represent tonight. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary. Please call the roll.
Trustee Roberts,
I abstain.
Trustee Sutkar,
Abstain.
Trustee Ulrich,
I vote aye.
Trustee Bromberg,
Aye.
Trustee Klein,
I vote aye.
Trustee Gray Keeler,
Aye.
Mayor Van Dusen.
Aye, the motion passes. Thank you for sticking with us.
Thank you. Again, thank you very much. I do appreciate this. On behalf of Zacharias Center, we truly appreciate it.
Thank you. And that concludes,
That concludes CDBG, at least from my perspective tonight.
and then, is it February 3rd, or is it the 4th?
February 4th will be the
February
budget
4th.
recommendations. Yep.
Okay. So miracle worker Carrie will perform her magic one more time. Before we do conclude, I would like to remind everybody that the Coming Together in Skokie and Niles Township will be having its opening ceremony this coming Sunday. At 1 o'clock will be the refreshment art gallery, and at 2 o'clock the program will begin. It will be at Niles West High School Auditorium, and this year we will have Alan Kraszewski from ABC 7 News, who will be our MC. So to all of television land, please be reminded, and would be great to see you. Trustee Roberts. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
I have no comment.
Are there any citizen comments? I'm sorry.
Trustee Roberts. I make a motion to adjourn.
We are adjourned.